Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Empower Her talk show. I am your host, Salita, and Coach Salita. And I hope you guys are having a great evening here on Thursday. Thank you for joining us. Definitely want to say thank you for each and every time we're able to do this show on AOC number two. I want to thank Cox Cable and LUS for this great opportunity. Again, I am Coach Salita, and there's so much going on. This week has gone by so quick. This month has already gone by. We're already in the middle of the month. Can you believe that? We're already in the middle of the month, but that's all right because you know what? Great things keep coming. Every time we do this show, good things always happen. And I'm hoping that you guys are learning some things. I would love to get some feedback from you guys. Definitely hit me up, email me. My email address is there. You can Instagram me also. Like I said, Instagram me. You can go on Instagram, YCCMW2020, and hit me up over there as well. Thank you guys for this time. Now, as you know, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, you guys. So we're definitely going to be talking about that today. I'm just like, I get excited every time I do this show because I am so hoping that I am helping somebody in the process of all the information that we share on here. I've done extensive shows on domestic violence awareness. I've been doing it for a while. If you go over on Spotify, I actually have a show called You Are Loved. It's a radio show, and I've done it for about 2 or 3 years maybe. And I talk about that. If you look at some of the topics that I covered over there, some amazing topics in domestic violence is definitely one of them. Relationships, the whole 9 yards. I've covered so many different topics. But in the meantime, I love doing it like I love doing this right here. So we're going to go ahead and get started talking about domestic violence. Okay. So let's see here. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I need to come back over here. Oh, there we go. Because I need to present it to you guys. Okay. One, two. Ba, ba, ba. Okay. And I'm going to go back to the beginning and start from there. Okay, so let's go back here to the beginning. Okay. All right, so the name of this presentation is I Am Tired of Hurting. I think I said I am tired. I think I titled this wrong. I titled it I Am Tired of Crying. I think it's supposed to be Tired of Hurting. Okay, let's talk about domestic violence. This has been brought to you by You Can't Clip My Wings. Okay, as you know, domestic violence doesn't always consist of a man and woman. It could be a woman and woman, and it could be a man and man because those are what we call intimate partners. So those are not excluded from the everyday violence that happens against human beings in general. You guys, just that's I mean, let's look at it in that standpoint or from that standpoint. Okay. Okay. So, as I said earlier, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, okay? And the first thing we're going to introduce to domestic violence awareness is this refers to a pattern of abusive behavior used by one person to gain or maintain power and control over another in an intimate relationship. Now, this affects individuals across all ages, genders, socioeconomic backgrounds, and cultures. Awareness about domestic violence is essential for prevention, early intervention, and support for survivors. And as we know, if you know anything about the history of domestic violence, back in the day, there was a time when women were considered property, okay? And it was more prevalent for women to be beaten like they were child or a piece of property, like you're disciplining your dog or your cat or your cow or your horse. So it was more acceptable for a man to beat his wife because he was trying to discipline her. Again, he saw her as a piece of property. And it was the norm in a lot of families, in a lot of households. Okay. Now, what is domestic violence? Domestic violence includes physical, emotional, sexual, sexual, financial, and psychological abuse that occurs within a household or intimate relationship. It can happen between spouses, partners, family members, or even between parents and child. Okay. Forms of domestic violence. Okay, let's talk about forms of domestic violence. So when we say domestic violence, we're talking about physical abuse, we're talking about emotional and psychological abuse, we're talking about sexual abuse, we're talking about financial abuse, and digital abuse. Yeah, digital abuse. Can you believe that? So with physical abuse, hitting, slapping, choking, or using any physical force to harm and or intimidate. That means punching, slamming people on the ground, stomping on them, kicking them. All of these are forms of physical abuse that actually leaves marks. Lots of times, when an abuser is so used to being the abuser or doing what he does or she does, they like to hit you below the neck because you can cover that up. A face you can't, unless you got good makeup. Okay, you can hide a good bruise or two. And I'm not saying that in a way of being very I don't want to make it sound like I'm being very nonchalant about this. It's nothing nonchalant about it. I'm just telling you what women usually do. I had the opportunity to volunteer when I was in Tennessee with domestic violence, and I did it here where I live at now. I also was a CASA volunteer, which is a child advocate, a special, excuse me, a child advocate special. I forgot what it's called. I'm sorry, CASA. You guys heard of CASA, right? I forgot what it meant because it's been so long. Please forgive me. But anyway, so I've had firsthand uh I don't want to say firsthand experience on dealing with domestic violence on both ends. Okay. Also, I've had friends that were in domestic violence relationships. Um, when it came to, yeah, domestic violence, lots of my friends were in the military. So just imagine um, being in those positions and still being treated like that from your spouse or your significant other, excuse me. So with emotional and physical psychological abuse, that's manipulating, that's gaslighting, the insults, threats, isolating you and controlling behavior, telling you when you can get up, when you can get when you can leave, telling you, you need to sit there and you don't need to say anything, all these controlling behaviors, threats, I'll kill you, isolation, you're not allowed to be around anybody, you can't see your mom or dad, okay? Um, uh, Gaslighting. Oh, you're crazy. I know you didn't put that over there, and you're arguing. Yes, I did. I know I did. Okay, gaslighting, getting you to get upset, manipulation, trying to manipulate you. Okay, yeah, your mom called, but she didn't want to see you. Just doing anything to keep you in this frenzy of being upset about something, just to see how much they can get you to go. Okay, sexual abuse, that's forcing someone to engage in unwanted sexual activity or assaulting them sexually. That means touching you, molesting you, um, forcing you to do things that you don't want to do. Um, and then the ideal of rape, back in the day, again, back in the day was not considered rape. You were a piece of property. So they did with you what they wanted. Nowadays, it's called rape. And it doesn't matter if it's your husband, your boyfriend, your significant other. It does not matter. Your intimate partner is still considered rape. Okay. Let's talk about financial abuse, controlling a person's, your partner's, or a partner's finances. Okay. Limiting access to money or sabotaging employment. Okay. So controlling a person's finances, not giving them access to money. Okay, taking all your credit cards, your bank cards, okay, your checkbooks, having only access to your account when you can't access your own account unless he's there or she's there, okay? Um Again, limiting access to money, um, giving you money, not allowing you to have your own free will of money. They're telling you what you have, what you can have, and what you can't have. Sabotaging your employment, calling your job, harassing you on your job, bringing attention to what's going on in your home at your job. So that's sabotaging your employment. Before you know it, you're stressing out not only yourself, you're stressing out your job and the people on work, and they're not going to do that. Your employer is not going to tolerate that, so they will let you go. Now, let's get back to having money. This is something I tell most women: never put yourself in a position where you don't have your own money. I don't care who it is, who you married to. I don't care how much money he got. I don't care what he got. At the end of the day, do not put yourself in a position where you do not have your own money. Okay. Find some kind of way. If you have a best friend, if you have a family member you trust to the utmost, allow them to open up an account for you and you can put money in that account. But do not ever be in a position where you don't have any money. He might think you don't have no money, or she might think you don't have no money, but don't have any of that information in the home. Okay. I hate to say that. I know that sounds crazy, but you don't leave any of that information around because, again, they're paying attention to everything you're doing. Okay. They have to have total control over you. So you have to figure out a way to allow somebody else to open you account, okay? And you be there with them. If it's a doctor's appointment, whatever, find a way to make sure that you have an account open with your name on it, point blank, okay? You figure that out, but having your name on it and having money in that account, okay? Uh, to me, that ensures you that you have a way to get out. You don't have to holler, I don't have no money, I can't do this, I can't. You don't even have to worry about that. You'll have your own money, okay? And that's just something I think is just an ideal that I'm thinking of, since he's already limiting you access to any type of funds already. So the funds that you do get, and if you don't have to spend them in the home, I would take that and put it in a secret account. I would do that. Okay, or controlling partners. Okay, we talked about that. And then the last one is digital abuse. Using technology to stalk, monitor, harass, such as a constant texting or tracking. They're putting a tracking device on your card. Have your card checked. Okay, I don't care. Have your card checked. Take it down to the police station. Take it to your local mechanic. If he doesn't go snitch on you, Uh, have your car checked for anything that looks like a tracking device. The constant texting bothering you. You've already got an argument. You said what you had to say, and he continues calling you, or he keeps continue texting you over and over again, threatening you. Okay, stalking you, watching where you're going, hiring somebody to watch where you're going. Okay, all of those things. Putting cameras in the house, monitoring everything you do in the home. Okay, except he probably won't go in the bathroom, but everywhere else in the home, he has cameras. I was watching an incident that happened on a show, and they were talking about this man wound up killing his wife. But before he killed her, he had monitors, he had cameras in the home. So they saw how he was treating her. So that was just proof in itself because he put the cameras in the house, which he should have never done, is putting cameras in the house. Some back in the day, they used to videotape. There's a young lady, an African American lady, married to her husband, and had two kids. And he would videotape himself beating her. He would even have his son videotape the beatings. Okay. The way she got away was she went to work one day, and she just broke down and cried, if I'm not mistaken. And her co-worker got the police, and they got her to safety, and they wind up arresting him. He's in jail for life because of the videotapes, which was not smart on his part. But they found the videotapes and they watched him, and they got him. He's got life in prison. So um, if that's what they want to do, make sure they're getting everything. Okay, that's why. So when it comes down to it, if something was to happen, then you have proof that you didn't do anything to him. It was all him doing it to you, or vice versa. I keep saying him and her, but I'm talking about women too. Women, we can be just as abusive as men can. Okay, so let's talk about cycle of abuse. And in the end, we're going to see a further down in the slides, we're going to see a wheel. And this is basically what's on the wheel, or cycle, the cycle of abuse. Okay. We're talking about tension building phase. Okay. This is the arguments, the anger, all of this is building up. Okay. Things that are happening, incidents that are happening in the relationship that's coming up to the point where you didn't iron his shirt. He found a wrinkle in it. He found some dirt. You bleached one shirt that you shouldn't have bleached. Okay. These are things that's building up. Okay. And you're stressed out, but the arguments start. And I say this, and I'm talking about from a woman's standpoint. Sometimes, if you know you are married to an abuser, okay, and you're not ready to leave, and you guys are arguing back and forth, stop arguing. I don't care what no one says, stop arguing. Because what you're doing is you're getting that tension build up in him. So the next thing he does, he'll hit you. So why would you sit there and keep arguing with him? I don't understand that. Stop arguing. If you know he's at that point, you know his point because you've been dealing with this domestic violence for a while. Don't keep talking. Be quiet. Men, do the same thing. If you're arguing with your wife and she's the abuser, just stop talking. I know it sounds crazy, but stop talking. Don't keep going back and forth. Don't, because you're at the point of the tension building. It's building up. It's building up. And the next thing is the incident phase. Right? The abuser the abuser lashes out in anger. Okay. Using violence or intimidation. So now you're at the point where if you kept going back and forth with them, no, I didn't. I did not tell you that. You know, I didn't. And you going back and forth with him. Next thing is he's at that point, or she's at the point for you know what, he's hauled off and slapped you or her. Okay. Is it worry? I mean, is it something that could have been avoided? Yeah, it could have been. Just be quiet. Sometimes people can't argue with themselves, and they probably sound crazy. They're just like, you answer me. Don't answer him. Because when he's out telling you to answer him, what do you think he's doing? He's goading you to keep the conversation going or the argument going, so he has a reason to hit you. He's got to have a reason to hit you. They do. They have to have a reason. So then we get to the recreation. the reconciliation phase. And this is when, after he's hauled off and slapped you or she slapped you, I'm sorry. I'm just under a lot of pressure. I had a bad day at work. The kids would not stop screaming. Any excuse, there's excuses. And then, why did you make me do that? You didn't have to make me hit you. I did not want to hit you. I love you. That's that, to justify the abuse. And then promises to change. I'm okay. Look, this is what I'll do. I promise you, we'll go to counseling. I'll see if the counselor can get me into anger management class, because I don't want to do this to you. I don't want to do this to you. And then we have the calm. You know, I love you. I know you love me. I just don't understand why you hurt me. That's where we at the common phase. Before what? Before it starts all over again. And this is only a temporary period. Okay? So keep that in mind. Okay. So let's talk about barriers to leaving abusive relationship. What makes us not leave? We have fear, financial dependence, emotional attachment, isolation, and cultural or social pressures. Okay, so we have fear. Fear is fear of retaliation or further violence. And I'll kill you. I'll kill you. If you try to leave me, I'll kill you. Nobody wants you. Nobody can have you if I can't have you. Okay. So you okay. Financial dependence. Lack of financial resources or access to income. Again, what did I say earlier? It's very important that you have your own money. I don't care how you can do it. If you were my friend and that was you, I promise you, I would set you up where you will be able to have money when you need it. If you needed to get a loan, because I would convince you, I would convince you to put money away. I don't care what it is, if it's a nickel, dime, penny, whatever you can get a hold to. You can accumulate that over time. I'm not saying stay to somebody till they kill you. I'm saying if you're having to stay there and you have no other thing to do, collect money. Okay, collect coins, collect dimes, I mean, it all comes up. I keep a wallet full of money. I think I got about maybe close to $10 worth of change. Not to say that my husband does me like that, because I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is just a habit that I keep coins on me. I keep money on me. Change, in other words. Let me say it like that. Um, I keep change on me. Okay. So it's easy for me to move around if I needed to. I don't have that issue. Thank God I don't. But if I did, I would have my own. I have my own money. I just believe in having your own money anyway. I think it's very important. My situation is I'm a little fortunate in some situations than other people, because everybody doesn't have that. Okay. Um, everybody doesn't have the outlets. Everybody doesn't have places to go. Everybody doesn't have vehicles that they can get in and leave. Okay, so I look at that. I'm not saying this in the way of brag. I'm just saying, um, my if I was in a situation where I had to leave, I am going to be able to leave. Point blank. Period. Okay. Um, Emotional attachment. I love him. I if I leave him, it's not going to be the same. He's not going to be able to survive without me. And he's done so much for me. Look where he's taken me. Look where I live at. I live in his big, beautiful home. I would have never gotten that home on my own. I would have never gotten all this. The kids go to private schools. So I have a wonderful life. So leaving him, I will be deprived of all that. Do you see how that's working? Okay, having that emotional attachment. And his friends are so nice. They don't know what he does. Think about it, okay? Then we talk about isolation. Abusers often isolate their victims from family. When was the last time you talked to your mom? Well, it's been months. I haven't talked to her in months. You've never tried to reach out to her? No. Well, I'm not allowed to talk to them. I'm not allowed to contact them at all. What about your sisters? What about your brothers? I'm not allowed to talk to them. You see what I'm saying? And this is what happens. And then you don't have a support system, okay? Because you're not allowed to talk to anybody. Then we'll talk about cultural or social pressures. Think about it from this standpoint. Some cultures don't allow anybody to interfere in the domestic violence that's going on in the homes. Yeah. And then social pressures can consist of, I don't believe you planning on leaving him. Oh my God, I do not believe he's beating on. You could not tell me that. There is no way you're telling me that he beats you. He is a beautiful man. He is so nice. I don't know. And look, him and my husband golf all the time. I'm just saying. That might be a little bit over the top, but I'm just saying, I can't believe he gave to the charity, children's charity. He's at the hospital giving away gifts all the time. I can't see why would you want to leave him? Social pressure, uh, pressuring you to stay in a relationship that's full of abuse. And I keep saying women, but I'm also talking about men as survivors of this too. Okay, because we have some women can just be just as tough as men can. Okay, so impact of domestic violence. We have physical health, mental health. We have talking about children and the economic impact. Okay, so physical health. So you have injuries. Okay, your finger. He busted your finger. You're walking around with a spring on your finger. Okay, um, talking about chronic conditions. If you've been kicked, if you're sick all the time, that could affect something that has been done to you. Abuse, okay, and long-term disabilities. I have a friend right now to this day. She's one of our oldest. We have a group that I'm in, and she's one of our oldest. And she got shot in the leg by one of her ex-husbands, and she limps now. So that's her disability. Okay, sometimes she walks good, sometimes she can't. And she says her knee bothers her a lot. It's a constant reminder of what we call a form of abuse. Okay, so she's constantly, so you don't think that has anything to do with her mental health? The idea that she can't do like she used to prior to her getting shot? You don't think that bothers her? You don't think depression sets in? You don't think she gets anxiety? Okay, you have PTSD. And then I'm not saying no suicidal thoughts because I have never had that kind of conversation with her and she's never indicated that to me. But all those other things she has to live with the rest of her life. And she just turned, I think she's 70 now. Okay, so think about that. Okay, and she survived it. So let's talk about children. Witnessing domestic violence can cause emotional trauma, okay, developmental issues and behavioral problems. And that's one thing I always talk about when it comes to children. You guys don't understand when you guys are in these arguments, when you're in this back and forth around your children, you do not know how you're traumatizing your children. And then some of you guys probably do know that. And you know that and you continue to do it. That's why I said sometimes just be quiet. Do not answer him or her back when they're going in that motion. You don't have to prove that he's wrong or she's wrong. Nobody has to win in this, okay? It's not a competition, okay? So the best thing to do is take the babies and be quiet. And if he wants to keep or she wants to keep egging on, baby, I don't feel like it tonight. Can we do this another time? I want to spend time with the kids or whatever. Find a way to talk to them in a nice voice, okay? Don't be hollering back and forth with them. I see that so much on different videos and on TV. Why are you arguing with him? He's already, especially when he's already hit that point of no return. Whenever she hits that point of no return, and you're steady going back and forth and egging it on, and no, don't do that unless you really, really love the abuse. And I'm not trying to say anybody who does, but if you, that's what happens, and he finds it very comfortable to do it all the time to get that reaction out of you. Okay, so you have to learn how to be the adult and not keep going back and forth. You have to stop it. Okay, it's all right if you feel like he's right or she's, let them be right. There's a moment when you'll be right, but let them be right. If it's going to save your life and your children's life, let them be right. Okay, and that's just something, I'm saying this from my heart. Let them be right. Okay, and I'm not telling you to accept anybody being disrespectful to you. I'm saying know when to stop the back and forth, know when to end it. Okay, with you. If you're at a point where you do not know how to control yourself in the conversation or the argument, step back. Just take a breather. Just take a breather and step back. Because we can argue all night, or we can settle it and say, you know what? You're right. I apologize. I left the water on the floor. I was in a hurry. I had to do this. I'll get it up now. Don't be getting mad and I'm not getting it up. I'm don't none of that. I'm just saying I want to see more of us live because I know people who are no longer here because of domestic violence. So I'm not into the back and forth. Okay. Not when you're with a person. Now, most of the time, it's not always like that because you can have a good argument with somebody, with your significant other, if you guys are not at the point of anger and the violence. Okay, you can have a good back and forth. But I'm talking about someone who's already there, and you know they're there because you've been with them long enough to recognize they're there, and you're still talking. Don't do that. Unless, some people like that because they think in their mind that's the way he loves me. If he hits me upside my head or if she hits me upside my head, that's love. No, it's not. That's abuse. There's a difference. Okay. No one loves to beat you, and no one should love you into that. Okay. All right. So the next one is economic. Oh, let me talk about children. Children witnessing domestic violence. This can cause emotional trauma, developmental issues, and behavior problems. Okay, lots of times when children are having issues at school, it's not just at school. And if it's at school, that's the only time that they can let it out because they're so afraid at home, because they see is going on at home. They're paying attention to what's going on at home. So whenever someone gets mad, they know at home they're taught when somebody get mad, you hit them. What do? They go to school when someone makes them mad. What they do? They hit them. And some kids have so much anger pent up in them, they don't know how to handle anything else. Okay? They're not taught how to handle it because they're living in a house of chaos. Okay? So we have to keep that in mind. So they come to school and they let it all out. Developmental issues. Some of them still, they want to be babies. They want to act like a child as they get older because that part of them has been taken away from them. The childhood that they should have had was filled with fear and abuse. So they don't have that. So that's a slowing of developmental ways that they should be with other kids, growing up, having a good time. Well, they don't get that. And we have to look at ourselves as adults when we put our children through that. Okay. So economic impact. Okay. Victims may lose jobs, housing, financial independence. Yeah, this definitely can happen. Lose your job. Okay. The ideal that you're staying away from work because you're getting beat all the time. So you don't want people to see you. So you're taking off from work, or him coming to work or she coming to work and clown you at the job. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But there's people out there who do that. Okay. So eventually, like, you're too much of a problem here. So we're going to have to let you go. Okay. Whatever's going on at your home is affecting us here at work. You're going to have to go. Yeah, that happens. Okay. And then housing. Say you live in housing, um, as far as like rent. He's tearing up the apartment. You're tearing up the apartment. I'm saying she, and he tearing up the apartment, tearing stuff up, spilling stuff, throwing stuff against the wall. Guess what happens? You get evicted out the house. Okay. So you lose your housing. Then we'll talk about financial independence, not having the financial independence. If you need to get away, you can't get away. Lots of times when a man or woman loses their job, it sometimes impacts them and they don't know how to handle it because no one's ever taught them how to handle their anger. No one ever taught them how to balance out. It's all right to be sad, it's all right to be mad, but don't get so overwhelmed with it and it takes over you. You have to be in control of yourself. And a lot of people, whether they're adults, a lot of adults are not in control. They think they are, but they're not. And that's something we have to deal with. And that can definitely affect the domestic violence that is going on in the home. Okay. Oops, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to do that. Let me go back. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I got so carried away here. Hmm. Okay. I got so carried away here. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, you knocked it out. Okay. Cancel. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let me go back. Let me make sure you guys are in here. No. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Okay. So we talked about that. Okay. So it says here domestic violence statistics, United States. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner violence at some point in their lives. When we talk about intimate partners, not only are we talking about a husband and wife or a boyfriend and girlfriend, we're also talking about men and women and women. Okay. 1 in 15 children is exposed to domestic violence each year. Survivors are at a higher risk of developing chronic health problems and mental health issues. So a lot of times when we talk or when we see a lot of mental health people, or for instance, people, homeless people, okay, they're dealing with not only, it's not always about drugs and alcohol, it's not always about the military, because a lot of times it happens, during the military, but this also is just basic husband and wife and boyfriend and girlfriend, that things just didn't work out and the abuse started. And you're dealing with all this. You're a survivor, but you develop all these different things. Depression, chronic health can definitely be the ideal of the abuse, physical abuse. Okay, can can leave marks or leave things, like I was just telling you about a friend of mine who got shot in her leg by her ex-husband. She has chronic pain in her knees constantly all the time, where now she's limping. So this is the things I'm talking about that's so important that we pay attention. When we're at a point when we just sometimes just need to, if you have an opportunity to walk away, walk away. Okay. Now let's talk about the warning signs of abusive relationships. Extreme jealousy or possessiveness. You can't talk to nobody. If I catch you talking to somebody, I'm going to choke you. I'm going to kill you. Okay. Constant belittling, humiliating. Talking about how fat you are, how skinny you are. I could have done better. Look what I got. Look what you look like. I don't like how you wear your hair. Who taught you how to dress like that? You're terrible. You stink. Just crazy stuff they'll be saying. Okay. And it's constant. Okay. Sudden shifts in behavior or isolation from loved ones. Like I said, all of a sudden, he got you. Now he don't want you around anybody. He cusses at you in front of people just to keep people away from you. He threatens you in front of people. He strong arms you in front of people. That's to keep you out of, so people will stay away. Oh Lord, if he does, I'm gonna stay away from her. So that keeps people away from you. So in case you need to be protected, you don't have any protection. Okay. And that's just how it is. Controlling access to finances, friends, or activities. Remember, I told you earlier, having your own money, having your little shoebox full of money, keeping your purse. See, if he doesn't have access to your purse, you only keep your money in your purse. Just keep money, change, anything on you some kind of way. Like I said, um, start you, if you have some envelopes, get some manila envelopes, and keep them in a safe spot. Okay. Get you a PO box. He doesn't have to know that. and find a way to put, or a safety box, okay, something where you can keep it and you can get to it, okay. Have a friend. I'm quite sure, I mean, he can isolate you, but there's ways that you can get around that too, okay. I'm just saying there's ways to get away around that, okay. Also threatening your friends, okay, threatening you, I'll kill you bring them around, I'll kill you, okay, and I'll kill you and them. There's an incident that happened here where the man had a side chick. Okay, I say side chick. You know what a side chick is. He had another woman, and he killed his wife. The other woman, he killed both of them and himself. Okay, it happens all the time. Um, a situation where a young girl stopped dating the guy. He had been following around. He took her phone. She was walking. He caught her walking with her friend, and she was going over to her friend's house at the time. And he caught her walking. He jumped on her. He pulled her hair, and he took her phone. They went straight to the police station to tell them what happened. And he had the nerve to sit out in the parking lot, right? The police would not go out to the parking lot, okay? Oh, she went and got her mom, and they were trying to put a police report on him about the stolen phone and the abuse, right? The police told her to come back Monday. It happened on the weekend. She was dead by Sunday. Her and her friend was dead by Sunday. Do you hear what I'm saying? Okay. So, and these are not stories I'm making up. These are stories that actually happened. That happened maybe about a year or two ago, right here in this area. Okay. So these are very prevalent and very real stories that happened here. Okay. How to help and support survivors. Number one, listen without judgment. Validate their feelings and experiences. Just listen. Don't think, oh, why didn't you leave him? I don't see why you won't leave her. Don't let her keep doing. No, just listen. Sometimes they just need someone to listen to them. Don't try to always solve their problems. Don't always try to say you have a solution to that. Okay. Sometimes they're not ready to leave. Okay. Keep that in mind. Sometime at that very moment, they're not ready to leave. Provide resources, help them connect with shelters, hotlines, or legal aid services. Make sure you're able to do that. Help them in any way you can with that. Okay. I am not going to advise anyone to say, come stay with me. I'm not saying that because the story I just told you, the young lady was on her way over to her friend's house where she was trying to get away from him after she had broke up with him. And she wound up dead too. So you have to be very careful. There's another story happened in Texas, and it was a friend of mine's friend. And what happened was, it was I think he was a sheriff deputy or a jailer. Okay, and they had to finally he had beat her, and she finally got a divorce from him. Well, they had to sell the house. Okay, so the realtor, I'm assuming that the realtor didn't know that they were not supposed to be in the same place together, or the persons who bought the house, and they had to come and get some stuff out the garage. Well, they wind up calling both of them, and at that time, they both weren't supposed to be in the same place. Well, they showed up at the same time to pick up the stuff. And she brought a friend with her to help her move. It wasn't a boyfriend or anything. He was just there to help her move. Well, something broke out, and he wound up hitting her with a weight. He killed her. Well, she wound up in a coma, and the young man that was with her, just helping her, innocent, was no relationship going on, innocent. He was helping her move. Okay, and he hit him too, beat him with a barbell, and he wound up in a coma, and eventually his family had to pull the plug on him. She eventually passed away, but what was so fascinating was she was pregnant at the time. So what they did was they removed the baby because she was able to carry, I don't know, with her being in a coma, she carried the baby, I think full term, because they wound up moving her to California. And They pulled the plug on her after the baby was born. So she stayed in a coma for a long time until the baby passed, I mean, until she passed away. So what I'm saying is innocent, being in an innocent situation. That's why I'm not advising you to have someone come over to your house, especially if that person know that perpetrator knows you. It's not healthy to have them at your house. That's what I think. And I think that's why they say connect with shelters and hotlines and all that, because they don't, I mean, not put yourself in that position. Respect their choices. Okay. Leaving an abusive relationship can be dangerous. Respect their decision. So when it's time for them to leave, then that's when you don't pressure anybody to leave that situation. Let them do it on their own. Sometimes they can leave without a doubt, sometimes they can't. So, what I'm saying is, you have to let them do that. That's why it's good to listen without judgment. Um, you know, just let them make up their own mind. I want to leave him, but I don't know how. Don't advise them because what you don't know is that they just talking. They're not ready to go. Because if you go back to the barriers of leaving a domestic violence relationship, you would see why um, that is not, I mean, just let them make up their mind to do that. Okay. Number four is be a safe ally. Offer emotional support and be available for them. Didn't say anything about them coming to your home. Okay. Offer emotional support, okay, and be available for them when they need you, okay. And number five, know when to report. If someone's life is in imminent danger, immediate danger, report this to the authorities. That's where you come in at, okay. Do not find yourself trying to be a hero, and I mean getting involved in that. Okay, so now we're at the resources for help. Okay, we have the domestic violence hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE or 1-800-799-7233. That's 1-800-799-7233. RAIN, okay, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, 1-800-656-HOPE or 1-800-656-4673. Then you have your local shelters and support groups, okay? Many communities have confidential services available. You have to know where they're at, okay? I'm not saying you have to know, but it's good to know where they're at, okay? Now, in conclusion, domestic violence is a pervasive issue that affects millions, but awareness and education can help combat it. Knowing the signs, understanding the barriers survivors face, um, and offering compassionate support are crucial steps toward creating safer communities. Everyone has a role in breaking the silence and empowering survivors to reclaim their lives. Okay. Now, we talked earlier about the cycle, right? The domestic violence cycle. So here is a chart of what it looks like, the build up phase, okay? The standover phase, that's when the fear comes in, okay? And then we have the explosion. And that's when the fight happens, the physical comes in, and then we have the response phase, the remorse phase. I'm sorry, the remorse phase where, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, please, let me buy you a new dress. Let me get you a new suit, you know. And then the pursuit, making everything fine. And I'm sorry, let's do this. Let's go on a trip. Let's go to the Virgin Islands. I want to make you feel better. I apologize. And then that's the honeymoon phase right after that when you make the promises and then everything is going well. And yeah, he's all right. He's been very good. And before you know it, you're back all over again. So it's a cycle that it goes and it's never changed. It's always the same way. This cycle has been going on for a long time. Okay. So we're going to watch a small video real quick. And this is pertaining to domestic violence. So we're going to go ahead and watch this.
You must be Andre. Nice to meet you. Come on in. Mom, Dad, this is Andre. Andre, this is my mom, Donna, and my father, Charles.
So nice to finally meet you.
You two have a seat. Well, Andre, we've heard so much about you.
Have you? All good, I hope.
In fact, it's been all good.
So you plan on marrying my daughter, right?
Yes, I do, sir.
How old are you?
32, why?
I was just curious.
Well, I'm sure you guys have a ton of questions for me. Go ahead.
Have you ever been married?
Yes, I have actually. Twice.
Twice?
Dad.
It's not so regular these days, is it?
Well, what happened?
I just wasn't ready for marriage or commitment at that time, I guess. But I definitely am now.
So what about your family?
I got an older brother in New York and a little sister in Jersey. They're fine.
And your parents?
I haven't seen or heard from my dad since I was a kid. And my mom actually passed away last year. Massive heart attack.
I'm so sorry, Andre. That's terrible. My husband, he didn't mean to open any old wounds.
I can't pinpoint, but there's something funny about this guy.
Oh, we had a beer again? What do you do all day? And why isn't my food here already?
Dinner is served, King. So, I didn't know if you wanted to put some ketchup or some mayonnaise on it or something. I don't know. I didn't want to put anything on it. Do you want to eat it here or you want to take it in the living room?
Do I look like I want to take it in the living room?
Andre, I wanted to talk about our little fight that we had last night.
So talk.
You know, I really didn't appreciate how you were talking to me. You know, I really don't think I deserve that.
Really? That's how you feel? Well, I feel like you should stop listening to your bitch-ass girlfriends.
What are you talking about, Andre? You don't even know them.
Look, I don't like them. They're a bad influence on you.
At the end of the day, this conversation was not about my girlfriends or whoever else. This was about me and you and the argument that we had.
There's nothing to discuss. I expect my food to be on the table when I get home from work every day. No ifs, no ands, no buts. You got me?
Andre.
I said no buts. You happy? You've been home for 5 minutes and you already ruined my whole night. Now make me another plate and clean this shit up. Move! And you better get that stank ass look off your face too.
I don't deserve this, Andre.
What did I tell you about Sassy? What did I tell you about
hurting
Sassy?
me.
Now look what you made me do. Baby, I'm sorry. Baby.
No, Andre. What?
Baby, I'm sorry. Look, I just had a bad day. I didn't mean to hurt you.
Andre, what happened to us?
Nothing.
What happened to us? We loved each other so much. We loved each other. We were so close and
Look, nothing happened. We still love each other, right?
I guess.
And you know I never do anything to hurt you on
Andre,
purpose, right?
you hit me.
I know, and I'm sorry.
Andre, you hit me.
I know, and I apologized. It won't happen again. Look, that wasn't me a few minutes ago. I'm just having a bad day. I'm sorry.
Damn, girl, what happened to your face?
I fell running up the stairs.
Patricia, you know we know what really happened. If you ask me, I think his ass is crazy.
I want these two trifling bitches out of my house now. See this gun? It holds 6 bullets. It's one for you, me, both of your friends, both of your goddamn parents. We said till death do us part, and I meant it. So if you want to leave, Maybe I should just kill your ass right now.
Andre, please. No. My name is Patricia Robinson, inmate number 56201075. I'm doing time for murder.
Okay. So, let's see here. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and end it right there. Um, I hope you guys have actually learned something from this. Again, this is October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I'm hoping and praying that you guys have gotten something out of this. I'm hoping that if you have someone or are you a victim of, I don't want to call you a victim, but a survivor or victim if it's happening right now, I should say it like that. You definitely, there are hotlines, there are your local shelter that you can talk to someone, talk to someone you know that can help you. Don't talk to anybody that can't do anything for you in this time of need, okay? Talk to someone who can definitely help you get through this, you guys. Love is not supposed to hurt, okay? And when people get to the point where that's what they're doing, then that is not where you want to be, okay? That is not where you want to be. You do not want to be in a relationship where violence is the answer, okay? That is not where you want to be. So I want to say thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. You guys have a great weekend. Stay safe. And if there is a need to get help, please feel free to get the help that you need. Okay. And make sure you share this with others. I'm hoping other people can see that you're not in this alone. Okay. There is people out that will help you. Okay. And stay safe and just believe in yourself. If you don't do anything else, believe that you have the strength to move on, to get out the situation. Okay, that goes for men and women or intimate partners. And also keep in mind, think of your children. Okay, think of how important your children are, and you want to see the future of your children. Okay, so again, pay attention to how some of the red flags that come in a violent relationship. Pay attention to what is being said, okay? And you have to make sure that I'm not saying for you to downsize yourself in a relationship like this, but if something is going to keep you safe and alive, do what you have to do. Allow your survivor instincts to kick in, okay? And understand back and forth arguing is not going to solve the problem. Sometimes it makes it worse. All right. So you guys have a great evening. That is, this has been Coach Salita, and you guys, bye bye.